Okay, it is recording here. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, speak up a little bit, Donna, because they're having a hard time hearing you.
All right. Well, basically, Mark got out of Arizona. He was there a year and a half, and he was on clozapine. And that's...
Hey, you just broke up on... Okay.
Clozapine. P-I-N. Clozapine, okay? And that drug, he was on 400 milligrams, so when we got him to Colorado, it's a very dangerous drug, by the way. You got to monitor it really close. The doctor decides to take him off fast within 2 months. Now, I went to a professional psychiatrist this last week, and I've been hearing from other psychiatrists that's way too fast. They were taking 5 milligrams or 10 at the very most at a time down. And it would take months, Clay, to get him off. Not 2 months of being on something a year and a half at 400 milligrams. You just don't jump clear off of it that quick. It's dangerous. And that's why he ended up back in the hospital. He had a seizure. He passed out. He couldn't eat. He couldn't drink, and his body shut down. He couldn't go to the bathroom. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had to, now the doctor put him, took him off this clozapine, then put him back on something else. So they're still drugging him. I mean, instead of taking him off of it and getting him off of it entirely by doing it gradually, day by day, they keep getting it. They keep giving him more and more drugs. Is that right?
Well, you know what they're doing. They take him off of it real fast, and then they say he's psychotic because his brain ain't working right after being taken off of this stuff too fast. It causes speech impairment. You can't talk right. It causes weakness, unable to think, unable to do anything when you take the person off the drug that quick. It's also very dangerous putting somebody on it. Okay? Well, Mark almost could have died. He could have died. Okay? Had I not called an ambulance to get him there so they could capitalize him, make sure he could go to the bathroom, make sure he could eat. He was so weak he couldn't stand up, okay? He could have died. So they keep him alive long enough to keep drugging him, I believe. They must be getting a lot of money. Right?
Where are they getting the money from?
Yeah, that's a good question. I really want to know that. I'd like to know where.
You still have not, they have not given you any accounting of his hospital bills or the bills he ran up for the year in Phoenix. Who's paying for that? Where'd it come from?
I don't know. I never got the bills or the accounting of it. I don't even have the medical records, Clay. They didn't even... We can't even get the medical records. And yeah, you know, I go to the hospital here in Denver, and I ask for the file on Mark, and I get the file, and it doesn't look like it's complete. It looks like they took paperwork out. So I take it up to a psychiatrist, and she said there's a lot of paperwork here missing. A well-known psychiatrist in Denver told me that. Okay?
Yes.
I'm not even getting all the paperwork.
Now, okay. Let me ask you this. You've got a lawyer. Your lawyer, in my opinion, should have sued this medical company for keeping Mark for a year, for incarcerating him for a year, for putting him on the drugs, and he hasn't done a thing, and he isn't even talking to you right now. Why?
Well, he's always busy. He's very busy. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Leslie's a good man. He helped me get Mark back. For God's sake, he helped me with everything. He took care of a bunch of stuff for me legally, too, that they tried to put on me and pin me with. Okay? But, I don't know. Is Wesley burnt out, or is Wesley afraid? Or is it Wesley needs to tell me what's going on?
Okay, Wesley is handling the Edgar Steele case, and I know that's busy. We got a man who's a friend of mine whose life is on the line. So, without without casting any stones here, I do agree, and we will see if we can talk to Wesley about that.
Yeah, I need help, definitely, you know.
Okay, just a moment here. I got one more thing to do here. We've got we got a number of people here. Looks like we're being featured here. We got and Lady K is asking. This may sound silly. It's not. I would like to know why they are doing this to Mark. And part of it, you know, Donna, I almost feel a little responsible because the gentleman I had on my show, will have on my show this week, is been given a job at the Federal Reserve. But when he came on my show, his front yard was filled with black SUVs and men wanting to know why he was going on my show. Now, maybe it's just a coincidence, but you were on my show. We met in New Mexico. You came through here to see me, to introduce me to Mark and your brother. You stopped at a motel. We saw each other for a little while, and then you went up to Phoenix, and all of this crap started happening. Was it because you were on my show?
You know what? No, I don't think it's totally that at all. And the reason I'm going to tell you that is they lost Mark that's also in Colorado Springs 3 times.
Yeah, before we got together.
There, day before. We're talking in 08, okay, 2008. And we're talking about is even a pronoun doctor down there told me and cried and said, they're hurting Mark and there's nothing I can do about it. And she cried and said, get him out of here, leave, okay? And I had a friend with me, so he made the statement, and we had it notarized that he heard that. He heard her say that, okay? And I think the pronoun doctor is also as guilty, possibly, as the drug cartel, because she's probably being forced to do it, okay?
This, and this is, pressure is coming from where? I mean, Mark is not a CIA concern or an FBI concern like I was, and he was used by by Michael Moore, a rich liberal.
Right. Yeah, who could care less about Mark? You know, Mark shows his chest on the bullets that went through his chest, and Mark didn't know any different. You know, he didn't know any different. He thought it was cool to get on his movie. And he was told he was going to sue, and he didn't do nothing for Mark. All he did is cause commotion with the family. Another downer, because family destroyed. Another downer. Something they can blame Mark for going in the movie. Not Mark's fault. Mark just wanted to be important after being shot.
Well, and he wrote a book, and so he was coherent. He doesn't have brain damage.
He might have now.
He might have now with the drugs, yes.
Yeah. If anybody knows of a place I could take him, or any attorney that would like to help with this, we need it. We need help. And let me tell you something. Just the one thing alone, they're taking him off his clozapine too quick and then getting him back in the mental institution, would be a suit. Just that alone. Because they're not supposed to take him off that quick. The first thing's going to happen to anybody that comes off that drug that quick, they could go into this kind of shutdown on the body, where they can't talk, where they can't think, where they can't walk, where they have no energy to stand up.
Well, let me see here. Let me see here what we can,
yeah.
I want to, my computer may be overloaded a little bit, so, guys on Blog TV and everybody else just keep track, and we'll see if I can do this. Have you've talked to some other doctors and stuff? What is the opinion? What about the AMA, the American Medical Association? I mean, couldn't you complain to them?
We've been contacting everything that we can right now. I have a gal helping me, and she's happens to be a paralegal for higher ends of the government, but I will not give her name until I get permission to do that over the phone, because she is working on my case. And she's excellent, as a matter of fact. Any attorney out there should be blessed to ever have this woman help. because she knows all the senators, a lot of them personally. She knows them. And she has a lot of ways of pulling strings, okay? And she knows the laws in the higher end and how she can get people to comply and help, you know. It's just that she's not the attorney. We need an attorney to work with her.
So what is she saying? What does she think about everything that's going on?
Well, she believes that Mark's life is in terrible danger. That they're probably going to kill him. They're going to make it look like they tried to survive him, and then, you know. She looks like his life is in danger, totally. And she used to be I will tell you this much, she was a doctor herself, animal clinic, you know, doctor, for years. And the reason why she got involved in this is it happened to her own life. And I won't tell the story. She can maybe have her sometime on your show, Clay. But that's why she got so interested in helping others.
And has she talked to anybody? Has she talked to any of the state congressmen or senators?
She has been talking to quite a few of them in different states, yes.
Is she in Colorado?
She is not in Colorado. She's up in Kansas. But she's planning on, she would like to move to Maryland and finish what she's got to do down there, right straight with the politicians down there.
All right, I can't add anybody else here, so I can't call Wesley, but I will call Wesley and invite him on my show and talk to him and try to get some...
The thing is, we need help, and it's very stressful. And I need to get my guardianship renewed before the end of the month, or they're going to own him over there. Okay?
Why can't you just go pull him out and take him home? Why can't you do that? Why can't you take care of him at home?
I can't. I would love to, but they won't let him out. They're saying that he's not well enough to come home. And they have to go... He's in a locked facility. Locked. He couldn't even walk out if he wanted to.
So he's as much imprisoned in Colorado as he was in Arizona.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, let me share something with people out there. This could happen to any of you guys and your family. So remember that. It can happen to you at any time. Okay? So I would advise anybody who has information to help now, so that we can maybe help you later. Because I have some, you know, like the advocate in place, the health attorney. I mean, I've got some pulls here because she's in the higher end of the government, but she cannot represent me as an attorney. She can get everything in place for the attorney to take it on to court, but she cannot represent me in court.
And how, you had guardianship. How did he get into this hospital? I mean, I just can't understand. I mean, for me, I would walk in, I would pick up my son and walk out with him and dare anybody to try to stop me.
Let me tell you something. There were guards there. They had guards there, and the doors were locked the minute he went to that hospital up there at Denver Health. He was put immediately in a facility that was a locked door when he first got there. So you see, this was all a setup plan. You hear me?
Yeah.
It was a setup ahead of time. He never really got released from Arizona. As I was looking at the papers, he was to see mental health here, too. It wasn't like he was released and said, oh, it's okay, go away now. You don't have to have mental health. They released him on the basis of him being in Denver and getting mental health. So he really never got released. He only got released from being in Arizona.
So you are in the same spot I am. I mean, to this day, I don't know whether I had a severe head injury. I don't know whether I was crazy. I don't know whether I was temporarily insane. And I don't know whether it was from the accident or the drugs that they had me on, and Haldol and Halcyon and Valium and morphine. I mean, I even told them, man, I said, what's the matter with you? I mean, didn't anybody tell you, I almost killed the first guy that gave me a Valium? I mean, I don't like this shit, and I don't want it.
Yeah, right. And yet you don't have rights anymore. Mark tried to deny swallowing any of the stuff. He didn't want it, okay, the whole time. And they injected it. Against his will, I did not give approval for them to do this. Okay? That's where we're at, okay? Now, the doctor the other day said, well, if you take him out for a haircut, do you think you have a problem bringing him back here? They're trying to question me to see if I'm going to run with him. Can you imagine that one?
Well, you have before, and you should have. I think you should have. I don't think you've done anything that a responsible parent. I don't think you've done anything that they wouldn't do.
Huh.
I would have done more. I would have done more about this, and what really amazes me, and what I'm just now considering doing a column, possibly under another name, so it doesn't automatically get shuffled into the trash basket like Dr. David Duke's stories. But I think I'm going to do it as a journal from the underground, because what we're in is the underground here. It's the underground. It's incredible to me that I have been, I started out as a publisher of an underground newspaper in the 60s. And I think I'm going to revive that name, because we were right in the 60s, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I swear, if you could get Mark home and get him on a medical marijuana, he would mellow right out. He wouldn't have the anxiety. He wouldn't have, he wouldn't have any of the negative side effects.
Can I share something with you?
Yes.
Anytime you're on Medicaid or Medicare, you're in the system, and they don't want you to go to a place and get help. They want you on the drug.
That's right. They don't want you.
So
And I just found out. I start, and I'll be doing a story on it. I'll be having a gentleman on that's got cannabis care down here, so he's trying to work within the system. And I can't get medical marijuana. Know why? I'm too healthy. I am too healthy. I haven't been to a doctor for 7 years. I cure my own. So every now and then I get a little bit of skin cancer, and I cure that here. And so I can't even qualify for medical marijuana. And if you do qualify for medical marijuana, guess what? You can't own a weapon. They have neutralized a whole other segment of the people. They got the people out there. Well, look, you can stop being a criminal, man. All you got to do is sign up with this doctor, and then you're in Obama's health care system. And this is where Mark is right now.
Right. That's exactly right. And you know who they're going after, putting people away? Most every one of them on Social Security, disability, on Medicaid, Medicare.
Yes, get rid of the useless eaters. They're not being productive. We don't need them anymore. If they live too far beyond 65, if they live too far past 65, they're a liability to us. They're only supposed to live to 65, and they get their Social Security and die.
Well, guess what? The president ain't too far from that age himself. It's around the corner. It comes fast. The minute I hit 50, it's like, oh, fast.
Well, I have a little different attitude. I'm going to live to be 110 and break the bastard.
I'm saying the perspective what the president's thinking. He don't realize he's going to be 60, 65, so then he's too old to be here, too.
Yeah, the renegade saying that Rahm Emanuel wrote the Obamacare. They want to, well, that's your, and my other guy says they want to control every aspect. Is what they want. That's it. That's it. That's exactly what it is. It's about control. It's about, and to be an individual and be free, you got a big target painted on your back. Just like Dr. Jake Wade told me about my book. And folks, again, let me tell you, my book is Mystery Babylon. It's the New World Order Unveiled, and the things I covered in that years ago is still very, very relevant today, because it's about control. They were bringing the drugs. The CIA and the Mossad were bringing the drugs in, the cocaine in, to a nice little protected airport called Mena, Arkansas. And I wrote that, I put that in my magazine, I put that in my book, and suddenly I got hit, you know, in every way that you can. And the gentleman I'll have on tomorrow is Dr. Jake Wade of Timothy Bible College. Here's what he wrote. He said, Clay, I've read this, and it is dynamite. Literally, the presentation is well documented and needs to be published. A warning, make sure you have many copies massively circulated before going public. The bullseye on your back will multiply in magnitude. Satan and his generals will not be pleased. Dr. Jake Wade, he'll be my guest tomorrow. And folks, we've got to finance this fight. You know, Mark is in trouble, and the whole system. Matter of fact, I've got a. Oh, let me see here. Let me make sure what's my times here. This whole system is set up to imprison and keep you.
Of course.
It's, and my God, we've got to fight this. We got to fight this. Let's bring a caller up here for a moment. Hello, this Ann? 918. You're on the air. Okay. All right. She must be somewhere else. We just put her on hold here. But you know what you're going to with Mark is what, and on my blog talk, on my blog TV, I just put up a thing about the schools. The schools right now look more like prisons. The high schools look more like prisons than schools. And my God, you got to go through checkpoints. There's cameras on every corner. They got dogs and cops are walking up and down the hallways. And there's a comparison. There's the filmmaker, and it's on the film right below my show here on Blog TV, Clay Douglas, or Free American, one of the two. They compare the prisons. Here's the libraries, and the prisons. Here's libraries and schools. Here, the only difference is at 3 o'clock you walk out, but you're being conditioned. Our children are being conditioned for prisons.
That's right.
And Mark is in a prison. It may be disguised. It may look like it's for families. They call it for mental health. And a lady is asking, Donna, what have you done to make this a public interest? Someone in the media hasn't taken this story. It makes me wonder. She has my advice to Donna, what did I tell you, Donna? Call every television station, call everybody, call the FBI, call these people, call these people, call these people. And you did that, didn't you?
Yep, isn't doing it good.
And nobody's interested in telling this story.
But you know what, Clay? If other people would go to the press, not being me doing it, but many other people would get involved, we might get something done. If there was enough people out there writing letters and having a fit over it, and calling the governor's office and say, free Mark Taylor, we know what's going on here.
Well, I'll have to put that banner back up. I thought we made it. So maybe I went to sleep on a job. Maybe I went to sleep on a job, Donna. Maybe it was my fault. Maybe I should have stayed on Wesley harder. I should have done this. I should have done that. You know, I think about that every day.
No. No, I don't think so. I think we need people to come forth and help. Like write letters to the governors, write letters to Congress, write letters about this is not fair to the first boy that was shot at Columbine. We don't like what we see. You have a right now to say something. And if enough people would do that, hey, I wouldn't think it would take more than maybe 3 dozen people maybe to make a difference doing that. But I'm not getting anything right now.
Donna, I tried to bring this before the Sons of Liberty Riders. It was run by a woman by the name of Wendy up in Phoenix, and they kicked me out of Sons of Liberty Riders off of the website because some woman didn't like my website.
Really?
And all I was talking to them about was trying to go down there in Phoenix and surround a hospital and make a public demonstration for Mark, and they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do it, and they kicked me out and took me off of the website, so I couldn't tell anybody else about it.
Oh.
Now, why is that happening? You've got the Columbine families, the other families that are. How come they haven't you? Have you tried talking to them, getting all the other mothers who had lost, whose children didn't live? Why are they backing you? Huh?
There's not division between all the families now. And they have their own agenda, okay? And I won't tell you what families are doing this, but they have their own agenda. Some of them are park themselves and go along with the government, so they get patted on the back and get exonerated and paid, okay? Some are going around preaching total forgiveness, but not bringing out the truth. It's all about forgiveness. They don't care what caused it. They're bringing out forgiveness. Okay? Now, I agree with forgiveness, but I also agree with that you should speak the truth. Because without the truth, nobody's life is going to be set free. No one.
Folks, I've tried to point this out to you. I've been trying to point it out to you for almost 25 years. That we are going in the same direction as they were in the Soviet Union. And they ended up putting people in mental institutions for pointing out that Marx or Lenin were Jewish. Oh, you must be a conspiracy theorist. You know, and they would shoot them on the spot. They would shoot them on the spot, folks. And they went on, after the Bolsheviks took over, they went on to murder 60 million white Christian Russians, people just like you and me. And somehow during the Cold War, all the Russian people got made into the bad guys. Well, guess what? That's what's happening to Americans right now. We're being made into the bad guys. Our veterans are more veterans are committing suicide than are being killed in the war. And I've always referred to myself as the canary in the coal mine. Now, what they did to me, most people wouldn't have made it. You know, they even the ambulance drivers told them, man, this guy will never make it. Nobody injured this badly could possibly live. Obviously, they were wrong. if you consider this living, you know. But now it's happening to Mark. I'm watching the same thing. I'm watching them do the same thing. They told my family, oh, you know, he may never be right again. He's not well. You need to get long-term care. You need to get guardianship. You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to take over all of his companies. Don't let him drive. Don't let him drive. Yeah, Dad. 9 out of 10 people die in a car accident after a head injury. So give me those keys. You know, they tried to make a prisoner out of me in my own home. They wanted to keep me drugged, and I said, no, the only thing I need is a joint and a Harley, and leave me alone.